Have you ever felt completely powerless in an argument with someone who just wouldn't listen? Someone who twisted your words and made you doubt your own reality? You know the type of person for whom the conversation is never about finding a solution, but about asserting dominance. They prey on your empathy, your desire for peace, and your very human need for connection. You walk away from these encounters feeling drained, confused, and questioning your own sanity. But what if there was a way to instantly disarm them? Not with anger, not with aggression, but with a single, profound truth? A sentence so powerful, it doesn't just win the argument, it changes the entire dynamic, making them fear you forever because you have seen through their carefully constructed facade. This isn't a quick comeback or a clever insult. It's a psychological key. A truth bomb that goes straight to the heart of their deepest insecurity. This is the wisdom of one of the greatest minds in psychology, Carl Jung, and it's the one thing they never want you to say. In our journey today, we're going to dive deep into the mind of the narcissist. We'll explore the fragile ego they hide behind a mask of grandiosity and self-importance. We'll uncover why they behave the way they do, why your attempts to reason with them fail, and why they are so desperate to control the narrative. The key to understanding them, as Carl Jung often taught, is to look beyond the surface. Their entire life is a performance, a desperate attempt to shore up a self that is, at its core, empty and deeply insecure. The classic narcissist sees others not as people with their own feelings and thoughts, but as extensions of themselves, objects to be manipulated for their own supply. They need your admiration, your fear, or even your outrage to feel alive. They are addicted to the validation that they can never give themselves. When you try to use logic, they see it as an attack on their perfection. When you show emotion, they see it as a weakness to be exploited. And when you try to set a boundary, they see it as a declaration of war. The modern world is rife with this kind of behavior. Social media, celebrity culture, and a constant need for external validation have created an environment where narcissistic traits can not only survive but thrive. It's a world where the mask is celebrated, and the authentic self is often hidden away or completely forgotten. But Jung reminds us that the psyche has a way of seeking balance. The shadow, the part of ourselves we deny and repress, will always find a way to surface. For the narcissist, the shadow is a terrifying abyss of worthlessness and shame. It is the truth of who they are, without the mask. And it is this very shadow that you can leverage, not to be cruel, but to reclaim your power. To truly understand the power of this one sentence, we must first understand the narcissistic cycle of abuse. It often begins with love bombing, a period of intense adoration and flattery that makes you feel like the most special person in the world. This is their way of hooking you, of making you dependent on their approval. But soon, the mask begins to slip. Criticisms, gaslighting, and passive-aggressive comments start to erode your self-esteem. They create a fog of confusion, making you question your memory, your feelings, and your sanity. They isolate you from friends and family, making their opinion the only one that matters. And just when you think you can't take it anymore, they pull you back in with a flash of the old charm, a promise of change, and a fleeting moment of vulnerability. It's a vicious cycle designed to keep you trapped and constantly seeking their approval. But with Jungian wisdom, we can find a way to break free. The core of Jung's work is the idea of individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self. It's about integrating the conscious and unconscious, the light and the shadow, to become a whole person. For the narcissist, this process is an impossibility. They are so terrified of their own shadow that they project it onto others. They see their own flaws, their own insecurities, and their own shame in the people around them. When they attack you, they are not really attacking you. They are attacking the part of themselves that they cannot stand to look at. They are trying to destroy the evidence of their own imperfection by tearing you down. This is the great secret of the narcissist. Their anger is not about you, it's about them. Now, we come to the moment of truth. What is this single sentence that can cut through their performance and expose the fragile child beneath? It's not something you say in a fit of rage. It's not a comeback you practice in the mirror. It's a statement you deliver calmly, with a quiet confidence that shows you are not in the game anymore. It's a statement that shows you've moved beyond their need for validation and their manipulation. When they are at their most grandiose, when they are trying to belittle you or twist the narrative to their advantage, you look them in the eye and say, simply and directly, "I understand that you feel that way, but it doesn't change the facts." Let's unpack why this simple sentence is so devastatingly effective. First, it acknowledges their feelings without validating their narrative. "I understand that you feel that way" shows that you are listening, but it doesn't agree with what they are saying. It's a non-emotional, factual response that takes away their power to provoke you. It's a subtle but powerful boundary. You are not arguing with their feelings. You are simply stating that their feelings do not override objective reality. The narcissist's entire world is built on subjective feelings and a twisted narrative they have created. By introducing the facts, you are bringing an external, objective reality into their closed-off world, and that is terrifying to them. They cannot control facts. They can only control perceptions. When you stand firm on the facts, you expose their manipulation for what it is. The second part of the sentence, "but it doesn't change the facts," is the knockout blow. It's a statement of quiet strength and unshakable certainty. It tells them that their attempts to gaslight you have failed. It says, "I am no longer a player in your game." It's a refusal to be drawn into their drama, a refusal to argue about your feelings or your sanity. It is a psychological mirror that forces them to look at their own manipulation. A narcissist thrives on controlling others, on getting a reaction, on being the center of attention. When you refuse to give them that, when you calmly hold up a mirror of objective reality, you strip them of their power. The fear this instills is not the fear of a physical threat, but the profound, existential fear of being seen for who they truly are. It's the fear of being exposed, of being unmasked, and of having their fragile ego shattered. Now, this isn't a magic wand. You can't just say this and expect them to instantly change their ways. They may escalate, they may become angrier, or they may try to change the subject. But your job is to remain calm, to repeat the sentence if necessary, and to refuse to engage in the drama. This is a practice in setting a boundary, a practice in self-respect. It's about recognizing that you don't need their approval or their understanding. Your reality is your own, and their feelings, while acknowledged, do not define it. This is the path of individuation that Jung spoke of. It's about becoming so solid in your own self that external validation no longer holds power over you. It's about owning your own shadow, your own imperfections, so that the narcissist's projections have no place to land. When you understand yourself, you become immune to their attacks. When you see their manipulation for what it is, a desperate plea for validation from a deeply wounded person, you can respond with strength instead of anger. This single sentence is not an act of aggression. It's an act of self-preservation. It's the quiet roar of a lion who has been poked once too often, but instead of lashing out, simply stands its ground. It's the sound of a person who has reclaimed their power. And for a narcissist, that is the one thing they will always fear. You have to be willing to walk away from the argument, knowing you've planted a seed of doubt in their carefully constructed world. A seed they will never be able to fully ignore because you saw them, and they know it.